All right, perfect. We are good to go. See nobody in the waiting room.
Jason!
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. This year is going to be great. I know it. I feel it. It's pretty funny because I guess for the beginning of 2024, I wasn't as
Go take your gifts under the Christmas tree.
somebody's talking. Let me see.
That was your Christmas.
Perfect. I didn't have as much energy starting the year as I did this year. I didn't really start like fully diving into work till probably about February, and it kind of felt off for me. This year feels the opposite. It feels really, really good. So I'm really, really excited to start, and I hope you guys feel the same that I feel. Last year was definitely a rough year. We didn't think it was going to be that as bad as it was. But we'll start off by kind of going over the statistics for South Florida as of November. So the December numbers aren't out. The December numbers are going to be very important, and we'll talk about them once they come out. And they're going to be important because those year-over-year factors will tell us how we started and how we ended, right? At least for November 2024, it's giving you a glimpse of about the 11 months of the 11 months in total, but not the full year. So let's go briefly. So the numbers for Miami-Dade single family homes as of November 2024, there were 716 closed sales in November, which was up 1.3% from the previous year. Okay. The median sales price was 650,000 in Miami-Dade, which was up 5.7% from 2023 or November 2023. The average sales price was $1,093,218, which was up 10.7% from November 2023. Now, median and average, two completely different things. Okay, average obviously is the amount of homes that were sold. So in this case, 716. Divide that by the total volume, gives you that average sales price. So, the volume would be X amount in this case when you divide that by 716. The median sales price will take every single individual sale and get to the literal middle number of what that is. So, when you're looking at what the average sales price is, it could be much higher in this case, like it is, than the median sales price, because the median is going to be the middle. That means that there's a bunch of homes that sold below that 650, right? The average sales price just means in this case that there was a bunch of $5, $6, $7 million homes that sold that pushed up that average, right? So the median sales price will give you more or less the realistic number for that market specifically, because that average sales price will throw you off depending on the higher numbers that were shown there. The median percentage of original list price. So this is basically how close were people listing and accepting offers at their list price. In this case, it was 95.6%, and it was actually down 1.4% year over year. Median time to contract was 36. So once you listed, you get under contract within 36 days was the median, and that was 56.5% higher. 2023 was only 23 days, so less than a month in 2023. So you're starting to see these numbers a little bit, and as we go down, you'll see the real reflection as to why last year was individually why it was worse. You'll see it in the data as well. Active listings 4,797. We're actually up 24.4% year over year. That means that there was less active listings in November of 2023. Months of supply 5.4. And that was up 22.7%. So that tells you that there's not a lot of buyers in the market, right? Essentially, from what we're seeing in terms of what the actual active listings are, there's more sellers that are putting their homes on the market. Time for sales a little bit longer to get under contract, which means there's not a lot of buyers, and we kind of saw that. Miami-Dade townhouses and condos, 794. That was actually down 15.9%. So last year was more. Median sales price 436. That was up 3.9. Average sales price 689. That was up 2%. Median percentage of original list price 94.1%, and that was down 2% year over year. And median time to contract 50 days. 2023 was 32 days. Same thing with townhouses and condos. Obviously, this is a much different story because of where condos are in terms of what they're going through, and you're going to see it in the active listings and the months of supply difference. So the active listings, 11,320. That is up 46.6%, so almost 50% higher than last year. 11.1 months of supply, and that's 63.2% higher, where 2023 was at 6.8. A quote unquote, what's considered a healthy market is 6 months of supply, right? That's usually considered a fair market. Anything below 6% would consider it a seller's market. Anything above 6 months, would consider it a buyer's market. Broward single families, 804 closed sales, down 2.1%. 619.5 was the median sales price, which was up 3.3%, and average sales price 811,000, up 2.8%. 95.3% median percentage of original list price, down 2% year over year. Median time to contract, 40 days. 2023 was actually 23 days. So a big discrepancy in Broward's single family homes this year. Active listings, 4,943, up 36.3% year over year, and 4.9 months of supply. It's up 40% from last year, which means last year was about say 2.7, 2.8 months of supply. So there's much more listings for people to look at, but you're seeing it in the numbers with the closed sales. Besides Miami-Dade's single families, year over year has been negative for townhouses and condos in Miami-Dade and Broward as well so far. Obviously, the sales prices are higher, and that is because of still limited inventory and people are still bidding, right? Closed sales, 819 for Broward townhouses and condos, and this was actually down almost 20% year over year. 285 is the median sales price. That's up 1.8%. Last year was 280. Average sales price was 372, 246. That's down 3.3%. Median percentage of original list price was 93.2%, and that's down 2.6%. Now, these numbers are much more drastic than the other ones we previously saw. So for Broward townhouses and condos, median time to contract is about 58 days, almost 2 months. 2023 was only 1 month, 31 days. Active listings, there's 10,299 right now. 2023 was 6,152. And then months of supply is 9.8, which is a lot more, where 2023 was only 5.1. So a lot of more homes sitting on the market, and you see that with the closed sales reflection as well as of November 2024. Palm Beach single families, closed sales 841, down 8%. Median sales price basically at 0. Average sales price 1 million, that's up 16.2%. Median percentage of original list price 94.6, down 1% year over year. So we're seeing a theme with original list pricing is that they're less than they were in 2023. Median time to contract 37 days. 2023 was only 24. So still around a month, but 2023 was about 3.5 weeks. Active listings 5,828. That's up 27.6%. And then months of supply is 5.3. So slowly climbing. That's up 35.9% year over year. And then lastly, the Palm Beach townhouses / condos, closed sales at 584. That was down 25% last year, compared to 2023. Median sales price 310,000. That was up 0.5%. Average sales price was actually down 0.1%. Median percentage of original list price 93. That was down 2.1. Median time to contract 52 days. 2023 was 34. Active listings 7,385. 2023 was 4,736. So almost pretty much, a little bit less than double. Months of supply 8.8. That's an 87.2% increase, where 2023 was 4.7. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of big numbers year over year from November 2024 from 2023, and we knew 2023 was quote unquote the worst year for mortgage originations, in even worse than the 2008 financial crisis. Last year, mortgage originations I think were higher, but it was due to a lot of refinances as well, which flooded the market. But you can see here on the purchase side of things how much worse last year was than 2023. So if you felt it, it's there in the data. Now it's about turning it around in 2025 and hoping that these are more positive numbers as we move forward. And we're going to start doing these monthly numbers on the local level a lot. I know we do them nationally, but we're going to be doing them as well every single month for local as well, so we can kind of start to track that. Okay. Yes, Karen, we'll get a copy of it. You guys will get a copy of it. Yeah, we got you. All right, so just to jump in really quick to some national news, we won't go over national numbers today because there was a lot to cover. But first, we'll talk about the FHFA giving a detailed report on how they could make an orderly exit from conservatorship into being prioritized. FHFA is Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, right? There's been talks about possibly going private and what that would look like with the new administration, if it's going to be good or bad. However, it's on the table. And here we're going to talk about the stuff that relates to real estate. So it is very doubtful that it will happen immediately because of the complexity. And some experts actually don't believe it could come into fruition at all, but definitely, certainly not this year. If there is a chance, it's probably in 2027 or 2028, because going from being backed by the government to privatization is a very difficult, complex process, especially when you're talking about the securities market and mortgage-backed securities and things of that nature. It gets much, much deeper than just a regular company. So some pros and cons to privatization. Pros is reduced risk for taxpayers in the event of an economic crisis in the future, right? And I don't really see that as a pro, because while it sounds nice, we've seen what happens in the past with major companies that are private that need help, right? The government steps in and helps them anyway. So I don't know if it's a real benefit for taxpayers. It just does on the surface. It may look like it, but that is a potential where taxpayers won't have to worry about it in the future if there is some sort of economic crisis. For those of us that do this day in and day out, we see the numbers. There isn't really much when it comes to foreclosure data right now, or any sort of risk with mortgage delinquencies or anything like that. So I don't see that happening anytime in the near future, but it is a possibility. For sure, there will be more efficiency from them to make adjustments, right? Because when you're dealing with the government, everything takes much, much, much longer, and there is inefficiency within that. However, the efficiency to make adjustments, it is based off of, motives for profit, right? To make as much money as possible. And they'll be able to do that with the privatization. It'll encourage innovation, which is actually needed in the mortgage industry right now for sure, and in the real estate industry in general. And it could also help other smaller private competitors compete in the market, since they will no longer be backed by the government and going based off of the government incentives that really only the government can offer, right? So you will see some increased competition if there is privatization. Now, the cons, of course, higher mortgage costs are a possibility. And this is not a guarantee, but just a possibility, right? Since privatization equals profit. However, right now, the GSEs are actually very, very profitable, right? So for me to outright just come here and say, for sure, mortgage costs will increase. We cannot say that, but it is a high possibility just because that's what privatization is about, right? It's profit driven. Reduce access to credit. Now, this is something that I feel is almost a certainty if privatization becomes a thing. And that's because without government backing, the risk to lend becomes much higher, right? We see it with non-QM loans. They're not government backed. They don't follow TILA or anything like that. So those non-QMs, they usually have higher rates because they're much riskier. So what will happen with the GSEs is DU runs that we're getting right now, or LP runs that we're getting right now for clients, those applications may not run in the future because of the higher risk that they have. And then loss of mission-driven goals. So right now, the GSEs are currently mandated to support affordable housing and ensure a stable secondary mortgage market. But once again, with privatization comes profit-driven motives. And is affordable housing a profitable endeavor, right? It really isn't. So that's something else that could come as a con when you're looking at the privatization of the GSEs. Some good news, 76% of sellers that were surveyed say having an agent is absolutely worth it. So they're okay with paying the cost of actually having a real estate agent. 76% of sellers. Only 10% prefer to sell on their own, and only 2% are okay with iBuyers because most sellers believe that the iBuyer companies are scams. So this means just go out and get some listings in 2025 because sellers are open and they do believe and that you guys are absolutely worth every single penny. And us that do this day in and day out, we actually know that as well. So lastly, remember, I've always said that the Fed funds rate isn't a direct correlation to mortgage rates. Right? They're not. They just happened to have a common enemy, which was inflation. The indirect correlation between the Fed funds rate and mortgage rates became very true for us last year as mortgage rates were higher to end the year than they started. Rates ended at an average of 6.85% when they started at 6.62%. Rates as of today are at 6.91%. So even though the Fed cut rates a few times last year, inflation remained elevated, and really jobless claims, which we know are important to bonds, remained low, which means the job market is still very strong. And a strong job market means what? People have money to spend, which is considered inflationary. And in my opinion, high costs aren't going anywhere, and it's just going to be the new norm for us, especially, you know, if there is tariffs that get imposed, right? Rightfully so. You want to bring businesses back to the US, so on and so forth. There are pros and cons. However, with tariffs, what happens is inflation increases, right? And this is a real estate mortgage podcast. So with inflation, you would have elevated mortgage rates, which is why I believe that mortgage rates could still stay elevated throughout the next couple of years, especially if tariffs come into play, because then you're bringing jobs over here, which is amazing, and people will have more money to spend, but inflation will continue to grow, right? That's just the outcome that you see. And with people having more money to spend, inflation. Now, a couple things that I want to get with you guys on and talk about. First off is the book club that we started 6 days ago. Some of you guys are late. Some of you are already in it. I'm putting the link in the chat here. So we want, I specifically as well, want to make sure that we all hold each other accountable, which is why the book club is such a great idea to come up with, because now we're all together reading at least 12 books a year, right? I used to read a lot growing up, a lot. And I've stopped, right? Listen to podcasts and stuff like that. I don't really even do audiobooks that much because I'm always kind of on the go. But to kind of stop, maybe take an hour or two a day to actually get down, get my head in books again, is going to be a good thing for me. And I hope it is something that you guys can value as well for yourselves and for your growth too. So that's the reason why we started it, because we want to get you guys the tools that you need and kind of, you know, converse in a different way that's not always business. We are going to have a Monday Mortgage Minute live January 27th. So originally it was going to be next week, but I thought about it. I'm like, a lot of people are spending this week just kind of getting back to things, getting in the rhythm. So to have them come in the first Monday that they're already kind of set up may not be ideal. So we're going to be doing Monday Mortgage Minute the 27th, which is the last Monday of the month, live. We are going to have the president-elect of Miami Association for Broward, Sophia Allen, talking about the perfect week and how to have a great schedule starting with the perfect week. And then also we are going to be talking about the forecast for 2025, what we believe is going to happen. And then also we're going to be talking about taxes, okay? So what your clients should be doing when they're filing their tax returns, where they should be putting their discounts, where they shouldn't. So we talk about Schedule E, right? Schedule E income, where people always are putting negative rental income because they don't want to pay taxes on it. Well, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, where you can get negative income and still use that income to be able to qualify for a mortgage, okay? So we'll talk about Schedule E income, Schedule C income, your 1120s, your K1s for a company as well. And it'll pretty much be a full class for the for the tax return filing, especially because they start first or second week of February. So it'll be here at the ABSM headquarters in Miami Lakes. You guys have plenty of time to plan for it. We will have breakfast served. We'll be starting at 10 a.m. Okay. And then lastly, the Mortgage 101 Bootcamp. I saw a few of you guys come to the first one. Thank you guys. The second one we're going to be having is at the end of March. It'll be up in Broward. We're going to be moving locations this year. But it's kind of giving you, if you're a broker and you have new agents in your brokerage, or if you want to kind of get a refresher, you're a new agent yourself, you can come to this Mortgage 101 Bootcamp, and we kind of go in depth on the loan programs. I break down how to read an appraisal and understanding an appraisal, and different things like that, what to do with that throughout the process. So hopefully get to see you guys there as well for the Mortgage 101 Bootcamp. And it usually is on a Saturday morning. So if you're part-time, you're able to make it. But as we kind of wrap up the first Monday Mortgage Minute of the year, do we have any questions, scenarios, any excitement that we got for this year? No, we're good.
New year, new beginnings. So let's do that.
That's right. I love it. New year, new beginnings. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining today.
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
All good.
So I had an inquiry from an agent. Her buyer wants it's a 55 plus unit. But in order for, to get into the 55 plus unit, the son is purchasing it for the mom. Sorry. Getting a call. Sorry. So he's a foreign I forgot the name of it, like a DC loan, the foreign
foreign national.
buyer. Foreign national, yes. And how would you do that if it's a foreign national purchasing a 55 plus for the thing, but he's not 55 and it's for the mom who is 55?
So he's doing it as an investment. So I guess on the non-QM side, should be okay, even if it's a 55 plus community, because he's doing it quote unquote as an investment property, right? So the idea is that he's going to get somebody that's approved by the association to be able to live there. I think the issue that you would have is the association themselves, and if they were
right.
But financing wise, you should be okay.
Financing is good, but what do I do? Like, how do you prove that it is the mom moving in other than just the association? They were saying they needed to see her name on a deed.
On title, right, which will be very on a foreign national loan. So does he just work out of the country, or is he really a foreign national?
The agent told me he doesn't live here.
Okay, but he's not actually, like, he's still a U.S. citizen.
Not sure.
Okay.
I know the mom.
Yeah, if he's a U.S. citizen, then it's still possible to do it as a regular DSCR. I'll double check for you if we're able to get mom on the deed on title, if they are okay with that on foreign national DSCR loans. I doubt it, because it is considered an investment, right? So the idea is that you're not giving it to your mom to rent out, right? That's the way that the lender's going to look at it. But I'll double check for you, and I'll give you a call for sure, just to kind of give you an answer, and then we can actually review it next week as well, so that everybody else can get the answer to that question. But I don't know how we're going to get her on title, to be honest, but I'll ask, because the account executives are very, very creative.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. No problem.
That was a great question.
Absolutely.
Shaniqua.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was. All right, Sean. Any other questions that we have? Any scenarios? Or Nash?
Thank you, Mike.
No problem. All right, Shaniqua, I'm writing it down so that I can call the accountant.
Yeah. Okay, great.
All righty. Thank you all.
I'm gonna add it to my calendar too. Getting better with this whole, being CEO, writing stuff down. Tanisha got on this challenge, so yeah, I'm getting better.
Good.
All right.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. We'll speak next week.
You too. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
You too. Happy New Year.